Hello and welcome to Bert's Imperfect Bakes, the channel where it's okay to not bake perfectly every time. I'm Bert and this week I'm making some gluten-free and vegan cake pops. So to start off with the actual cake base, I'm making the cake out of some butter and sugar, like you would do a normal cake. Give that a good mix in your mixing bowl. I'm not using the electric whisk this time, just a good old manual wooden spoon. Once that's all mixed in, add your gluten-free flour. I'm using coconut flour here. And then mix that in. Then add some chickpea juice, also known as aquafaba. I added 3 tablespoons. And then give that a good mix. I'll be honest, I was going to make cake bars out of this mixture. Add some almonds, ground almonds that is, or almond flour, same difference. And some baking powder if you can open it. It was a new one. So I was going to make some cake bars, but instead they just didn't turn out quite right. So with the crumbs I'd created, I salvaged them and made them into cake pops. Add some mixed spice flavour in. Make sure you get a spoon that fits in the jar or just pour it into your spoon. Drop the lid, clumsy. And then here I added some milk, so dairy-free milk, and it was supposed to be gluten-free, however it was oat milk, I realised afterwards. But in hindsight the milk doesn't actually add anything to the mix because it was still very dry, so you could leave it out. Add some mixed fruit. I added some craisins and raisins. Mix that all in, add a bit more milk for no reason at all because it didn't do anything. And then once it's all mixed together, grease a baking tray and line it with some baking paper. Pour your mixture in and flatten it out so it's all nice and smooth. I used my palette knife and then husband suggested I use a flat bottom round container. So I used a small ramekin to give it a better flatness. Once that's nice and flat, pop it in the oven for 30 minutes. That's a preheated oven at 150. Once it's done, this is what it came out like. I started cutting into it and it was just crumbs, as you can see. So I just mashed it up into even more crumbs and then popped it into another mixing bowl and added some vegan cream cheese. It was a 200-gram pack, so I used all of it. Mix that into the crumbs and then I put them all into tiny balls. First of all, recycled the baking paper from before and then weighed out 30-gram portions to turn into balls. You can make them bigger or smaller, it's entirely up to you. Roll them out until they look ball shaped and do that until you've used all the mixture up. I got 28 in total. Then once they're all done, pop them in the freezer for 30 minutes to an hour, then cover them with marzipan. I started off with 250 grams of marzipan, but instead actually used the whole 500-gram pack. That's a lot of marzipan. Roll it out onto a lightly icing sugared surface. I portioned mine off into smaller manageable chunks. Once it's rolled out, then you can cut it into rounds to cover your cake pops. So I went for the smaller cutter in the first instance and then decided I needed the bigger cutter. And even that looked like it didn't fit, but I just squished it around and made it fit. And there you go, covered cake ball with marzipan. Pop a stick in it and then pop it back in your tray and repeat 28 times or however many cake pops you have. And then melt some white chocolate, vegan white chocolate in this situation. Cover them all individually with, oh, the stick fell out. Cover them all with white chocolate. And then pop them in the fridge to set. You can add any chocolate to this, it's entirely up to you. And if you wanted to add any extra things like sprinkles, feel free to do so, but make sure you do it while the chocolate is still wet, otherwise they won't stick. And again, repeat the process until you've covered all of them. You actually need about 500 grams of chocolate to cover them all. I only had 200 grams, so I ran out. So here they are, the final product, cake pops, which are almond fruit and white chocolate flavour. Let's give one a go, eh? These have been in the fridge since I've put white chocolate on them, by the way. I mean, they don't look pretty, but look at you. Interesting. Do you want to try? Definitely tastes of marzipan and the almond and the white chocolate.
So almond.
Be careful you don't eat the stick. So if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell button. And if you have any suggestions for anything you might like me to make in the next episode, please put them in the comments below. See you next time.